3, 4, 1, 2. All right. Uh-oh, again. Okay. Bear with me, guys. There we go. Okay, hopefully we're live and there are people here that can hear me right now. Everybody should be able to hear me if there is anyone here. If you are online and you are watching and you feel comfortable, if you could say hi, it's awesome because it also tells me if the feeds are all going out the way they should and if everybody can hear me or whatever. So if you're new, I would love to, you to chime in, tell us where you're from, whatever. We're trying to build a little community here. Sweet. All right, so Jackie's here, Karen's here. Okay, cool. If any YouTubers or Twitch people are here, I can't tell if the stream is working on YouTube. I think it is, but I'm not positive. Let's see. Hey, Kathleen, welcome. Thank you for joining me. All right, you get to see all my typos in live time. Okay, so I want to go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining me. I hope everybody... Allison, what's up? How are you? Okay, I'm going to start with some personal updates for you. I think a couple of weeks ago, well, a while back I mentioned it, but then a couple of weeks ago I told you I was going to get some, or last week I guess, tell you I was going to get some dental surgery and that we were going to have to move the class from a Thursday to a, oh sweet, hey from Philly, hey Jessica, YouTube is here. Okay, cool, all right. Okay, sweet. All right, so anyway, let me bring this mic up just a little bit, maybe you hear me better. So I told you I was going to get some dental surgery, and that pushed class, and then I was feeling like tremendous shortness of breath and just wanted to be cool in the gang and with everybody, and I decided to go get COVID tested, and I got that test back, and it was negative. I'm a news junkie. I am so aware of false negatives, false positives. I was a science guy before this all happened, so I'm very, very familiar with that. But I am still hopeful and happy with that news. Anyway, after I called back, the dental surgeon guy decided that he could take me immediately. So I had that surgery done yesterday. And I have to tell you, I'm not a dude with a particularly high tolerance for pain, but like I am pretty much good to go. Like I do think I could have taught that night. Last night, everybody was like, drink a lot of water, stay off your feet and do all that shit. And man, I mean, I just came home and worked in the yard, and I feel great. And, just to put a little, heart on this, the donations that you guys contributed and are contributing pay for that. And, I'm not trying to, it's just like, I don't make a lot of money. And so sometimes it comes, what's doing right for you is just something you can't afford. And so y'all got, your donations enabled me to feel like I have some dignity and I can take care of things that need to be taken care of. So thank you for that. I wanted to start off with this class because I got a letter from someone, and they were saying that they enjoyed my classes, but that they felt like the beginner classes were still way more far advanced than anything that they could do, or that they were ready for. And okay, all right. So that they were ready for, and so I want to address that, and then that's kind of the point of this class, is that so the first time that I ever went out and taught was in Portland. That was the first time I ever taught in a bit. Well, LA was my first workshop, I guess, and when I got there, LA, and this also happened in Portland, which was the next city, the room was packed with really good hoopers already. And they had really come to experience, to find out what I was about, to cherry pick breaks and paddles a little bit, and then to connect with each other. And so I would teach to their level. I had been hooping a long time, so I was okay sort of stepping into that level. And so I never, that just sort of kept happening from city to city, where the first hoopers to come were actually the best hoopers in that city a lot of times. And so the hoop path got a reputation for being kind of advanced. Later it got a reputation for not being advanced enough, but in the beginning it got a reputation for being very advanced. And so one thing I want to say is that I don't teach in a way that maybe would be perfect for you if you cannot waist hoop, or you have not picked up your hoop, or these sort of basics of hoop path. Those are a good place to source. Those is online or from local teachers. I'm a big fan of supporting local teachers. But the hoop path as a whole, I want to be accessible to beginners, and I have taught a shitload of beginners. I mean, people that could not waist hoop at all. And so, when you're stepping into these classes, this is a long way of saying that when you're stepping into these classes, sometimes the feeling of you're supposed to feel a little lost. It's like, your big sister like intentionally losing you in the woods so that you can find your way back to her and to home and really get a sense of yourself. And so that's the way that I teach. So tonight, what I wanted to do in response to her, which I thought was great, and I loved her comment, and that's why I'm reacting to it, is that I want to reset for you what the hoop path is. And I know this talk is already getting a little long, but I'll just go ahead and make it as quick as I can. The hoop path is, and the way that I teach, is just a fuller expression of how I enjoy hooping and what hooping does for me. I like hooping because it gives me time to myself. It gives me an excuse or reason to not worry and think about other shit, especially stuff that I can't do anything about. It makes me feel good about myself because I feel better after doing it, and that's a very empowering feeling, to be able to feel better and do something healthy to feel better. It's very empowering, whatever your level of income is or station in life. It's just an empowering feeling, so I really dug that. I came from an art background, and so hooping made me feel like, I was never really thought of myself. I danced, but I never thought of myself as like a dancer. But I did always think of myself as an artist. And one of my art professors, who also became a hooper, he told me once, Bex, just so you know, the shit you do with the hoop and with your teaching is so much better than the shit you did in college. And so when he said that to me, it kind of freed me up to think about hooping in a bigger way, that this was my art. And I invite you, if you're feeling that, to think that way, that, art is, we don't, so many times we get like foldered in art, like, well, what type of art is it and stuff like that. And sometimes like you might be amazing at a type of art that really hasn't been invented yet. And in my case, like hooping, was something that just wasn't there, in the way that I do it anyway, and it worked. So the hoop path, the name the hoop path is about the path, a movement path that you put yourself on every time you step into the hoop. And where that path goes, I only broadly hope that it will be your, hey Bonnie, that it will be towards your authenticity. That the walk is you getting closer and closer and closer to yourself, but kind of knowing that that's a very long-term and sometimes elusive goal. And so the hoop path is a path to your feeling of authenticity. There's two big concepts in the hoop path, and they play into that. We call your authenticity, as is expressed in physical form, we call that, or I call that, your ritmo. Your ritmo. It's I was taking Italian at the time. I think it's also Spanish, and maybe Portuguese too, but ritmo is rhythm. And your authenticity is your rhythm, right? And that rhythm changes just like every other drum circle in the world. The hoop is an inanimate object that you bring to life by putting your ritmo on it. That you put your authenticity on this inanimate thing, and it becomes inanimated by, an attempted expression of your authenticity. And then because of physics, and it's a circle, it gets a ritmo. So your ritmo of authenticity is passed on to this inanimate object, brings it to life, but it doesn't do exactly what you want it to do. It has sort of a rhythm of its own. When your rhythm, your ritmo, and the hoops ritmo are dancing together, and grooving, that in HoopPath is what we call piace, which means peace. I was taking Italian when I did all of this stuff, and so if you've ever taken a foreign language, I sucked at it, but you try to read everything in Italian, and I saw the word peace and thought piace, because the kind of peace that I was feeling was like, I was used to people saying that a tree falling in the woods was peaceful, but I wanted more of a working definition of peace, like the sturdy bridge of peace, as Pasha says. All right, so I think that that's enough to just get you going here. I know that was sort of a long talk, but this is kind of meant to be archival. Hopefully you're doing what my housemate was doing and stretching and getting down. We're going to move into sway now, and I'm going to guide maybe a little bit more than normal, just in case that there are people who are complete beginners who are taking this with me. Okay. Sweet. Oh. Okay, I forgot to turn the music up. Okay. In an effort to tap into authenticity, your ritmo, remember it changes. In the HoopPath classes, we do something called sway, and it is meant to be a free-form way of moving. The pace and the expanse of it all is completely up to you. Audible breath in. You could sway by rolling around on the ground, by stretching, even by meditating. I like to listen for my ritmo that night, to listen for the expression, the physical expression of my authenticity. And I invite you to understand that distinction, the difference of the rhythm of your thoughts and the rhythm of your authentic expression. Audible breath in. I say that because you could be a very peaceful person and not be in a piace with someone else. You could be peaceful without realizing you've been neglectful. Audible breath in. Audible breath in. The first HoopPath mottos was allow, accept, and ascend. Allow, accept, and ascend. Audible breath in. Audible breath in. For this next exercise, we're going to talk a little bit of I want you to keep your hoops. If you've been blindfolded this time, this might be a good time to take off the blindfold. Let me bring the music back here. Yeah, okay. Oh, there we go. It's a slow build. All right. I want to guide you a little bit. But you can move freely, because I'm just going to suggest ideas. Let's imagine that your focus is a spotlight and awareness is daylight. And the only way to bring daylight into the house is to open the shades, perhaps open the windows, to move things away from the windows. I want you to close your eyes and imagine that your breath coming into your body, your breath leaving your body, is wind and sunshine coming into your body. Open, open, open. Unlock doors. You're the mountain house, you're the beach house filled with wind, sunlight. Open. By visual cues, that I can feel my ritmo without being influenced. And remember that your ritmo is made visible by your dance. That your ritmo is made visible by your dance. You know, it's just like we don't know who we are until we meet somebody. Open, open, open. Good. In HoopPath, both sides of the body are very important to us. And so in our sway, just in the name sway, we push our weight from one leg to the other leg. In my effort to be a badass old guy, I want to spend as much time while I can in easily do so on one leg. Nice, Sheila. On one leg. Good. I promise we're going to pick the hoop up. Audible check. Okay, so hopefully you guys are still with me, and that was a long sway, but I think you get a sense from it what's important, and that is to be in the body. And the really cool thing that happens to a lot of people is once they sway, sometimes people just stay and sway and never pick their hoop up. And their hoop, rather than being disappointed, their hoop is like a proud parent of that movement baby. Like, yeah, no, go ahead, just call me when the dance is over, kind of thing. Okay, so so we're going to talk a little bit about core hooping. When I first started teaching, core hooping was all that there really was. I mean, that's not totally true, but it was a big part of what it is. And so what I'm going to show you now is we're going to start with some core hooping right now. So again, I don't know if it makes any sense to get like super beginner about this, but we'll start off on the waist here. In HoopPath, and when I say HoopPath, I mean my teaching, right? It's not like an entity, it's just in the way that I teach. Core hooping is really important, and waist hooping is probably the most important. And that's, honestly, just because of my own story. I was a waist hooper for literally years, probably before I really understood that you would want to do anything other than this. And I felt flow through all of that time. And new hoopers sometimes will say that they don't feel like they have enough to flow with, but I'm hoping that through ritmo and piace, you can understand that flow can happen with whatever moves you have already. All right, so you're spinning around the waist right now. I think most of you know this, but if anything happens to the stream, it's because the music gets copywritten and it gets flagged, right? Hopefully I'm still on. The direction that the hoop travels, that you're creating, is called the current. The current. And it's through the current, where the current is created by your rhythm and the hoop's rhythm. And if there's a current, then there's a piace. Good old Aretha. The first direction that you can ever get in HoopPath, we call it the first current. It's your first current. And the current has all kinds of yummy nuances to it. So right now we're just going to feel first current. Now this is what's so cool about hooping and why you become a good dancer doing it. Because, stay with me here, I'm in one piace right now, okay? My shoulder feet are side by, at the shoulders, and that's one piace. But if I do kind of a screwed up version of Warrior One or something like that, that's a different ritmo, okay? So that's what's so cool about this, is that in one yoga pose, or getting to it, there might be 10 different ritmos to get there. And the slower you go, the more ritmos might be necessary. So what I want you to do right now is to play with current and play with ritmos. Sumo stance. said respectfully. And then you can take a big sumo step, come up big, boom, 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 right? And so in current, we're finding all of these different piaces, and the current is like the song that the hoop and I are both listening to, right? It's the result of our rhythms. Now you have a first current, and you have a second current, and that's the other way. And I'm not going to get into this a lot. Good, but it balances out the body. No, actually, Sheila is doing something that's pretty cool. What Sheila's doing is doing essentially hand movements because they're all a different ritmo, right? This is one rhythm, and this is another rhythm, right? And so if I start switching back and forth, I'm teaching my body kind of two different ritmos at the same time. This one and this one, right? Current. When I want to move the hoop up and down the body, I see a path for that current to flow. I see a path that rolls around me. Okay. Nobody's commenting. I'm hoping that we're still, either nobody's here, or the class is going well, or the stream's down. Okay. So in the HoopPath, the body is seen as two trees, and we want those two trees to be as equal as possible. Equal opportunity, equal outcome as much as possible. You have a right side and a left side, right? Sweet. Okay, thanks. So we're still, right? So I have two trees inside of me, right? Now, if both sides of my body are mimicking each other, if they're doing a mirror of each other, then I'm in what's called one-tree hooping. And one-tree hooping is wrapping the hoop around me. Okay? But if my two sides of my body are doing something different, then I'm in something called two-tree, which is 99% of how people move. But there's a reason that it's called two-tree and isn't just called hooping. Because when you first get into hooping, you sometimes don't realize that you have a non-dominant hand, or that you have a non-dominant leg. For whatever reason, you sort of lean into your physical dominant side, maybe more than is necessary. So in two-tree hooping, what we're trying to do is move the feet as much as we can. Well, that's not true. We're not trying to move the feet as much as we can. We're trying to move our weight from tree to tree and feel that shift. Now, there is an exercise that I do called hot coals, and that's why I stumbled a little bit, and I'm going to do it right now. Hot coals is when you imagine, kind of like it suggests, that the ground is, that you're walking across hot coals. As you're some badass. And you're not just walking across them, you're shuffling, you're getting down across hot coals. And just like before, when I was moving my hands a lot, when I moved my feet a lot, I'm learning all these different ritmi. If you know how, you can come up with me. Right? Two trees. We've got about another minute of this song. Before in Sway, we were talking about your awareness and bringing your awareness in. bring your awareness into your non-dominant side. Open all the curtains. And what you might feel is how your non-dominant side engages. And it might engage one way in one current and engage in another. But just by putting your awareness on it, you activate it. Good. Now hopefully your heart rate is up, and for me this is a big part. Sorry guys. For me this is a big part of why I hoop, is to get my heart rate up. Good. All right, I want to get your heart rate up, but I don't want to kill you too soon here. All right. Okay, sweet. Thanks everybody for staying with me, and I really appreciate it. We're getting the heart rate going. I'm feeling good. I hope you are. Sometimes I get to have a HoopPath class with you guys, and I dig them. So we are, let's see. Yeah, okay, so we're on the waist right. I want you to be on the waist right now. This is going to be an athletic class. My classes are. But, you know, I'm on the waist. The body is seen as two trees. The hands are seen metaphorically as two birds, okay? And they are two birds that are completely independent of each other. In the My Dan story, the first glimpse of two birds is when Anna is laying on her back in this beautiful big tree, this mythically big tree on top of this mythically large limb, and she's looking out over this beautiful desert, and off in the distance she sees these two birds flying. And they are so peaceful that she puts one eye on one and another eye on the other, and she raises her hands and she moves her hands with the birds as they fly. She is laying in a giant tree, and so she is swaying. And we come to find out later that that tree she's swaying in is actually two trees. All right, so this next exercise is one of the most old school exercises that I have. So when you call me, but this is a focus on your hands. If I broke your heart, and if it helps you to, you know, hopefully nobody's watching you. You can close your eyes, or you can just imagine, you know, your hands following two birds. You can imagine them flying behind you, way above you. New hoopers will always want something to do with their hands. But it's better to just sort of think less like that and just bring them in. Just bring them into what's happening. You don't have to make them do anything. You just bring them in. You say you was broken from the start. Why'd you call me back? If I broke your heart, how should I react? Slowly, I want to feel connection between my hands as birds, as they're in their movement, and then my body as two trees. You want me up from the inside out, like a hot coffee, but in summer. It never feels just right. Till your heart beats slow. do bring the hoop up to your shoulders if you know how, whenever you're right there. Two birds can really help you smooth it out. Two birds can really.
So why'd you call me back? If I broke your heart, how should I read it? You say you was broken from the start. Why'd you call me back? If I broke your heart, how should I react? You say you was broken
You're
from
weak,
the
Mo.
start.
You're weak, Mo.
I never said that I was gonna stop trying.
Two birds, my hands aware of each
When
other.
something keeps breaking, the pieces get smaller and harder to find. That's why you called me back. When I broke your heart,
Audible breath in.
see how I'd react. You said it was broken from the start. Keep calling me back so I can fix your.
All right. Hoping you guys are still with me. Let's see what I can use coaching on how to keep the hoop from flopping during shoulder hooping. The quick answer to that, to Angie, if you're still here, the quick answer to that is practice, which is the answer everybody hates. But then mountain. And actually, we can show a little bit of this in the next exercise too. Mountain means that I'm trying to create kind of a mathematical, physical impossibility of the hoop following. Oh, hey, you're in the camera. But, I'm trying to create, no, it's all good, I don't care. I don't care. But I'm pushing my hands out into mountain. Boom, 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 boom. And then this might be a little more advanced than an intro class, but you really start to open your shoulder flow up to like really sick levels of control when you can fly your hands. And actually flying your hands is what does it. Like you actually get better by moving your hands in shoulder flow. Okay, I hope that helped. Hey, sweet Lauren, welcome. You haven't missed much. All right, this is kind of a kick-ass, like a up energy class. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit, because this is one thing that can really help people. It's a good fundamental for all hoopers to stay with, and that is the idea that, and I'll set it up real quick and then I'll play some music. Go ahead and get back into a waist flow if you can, right? And this exercise is going to sound a little weird, but it's just imagining how you are being animated, like how your movement is being expressed, like how your ritmo is trying to come, out of your body. And one way that we can hoop is to imagine that ritmo is, like a little planet that is moving around your center line, right? That you're moving, maybe I'll bring some music in, maybe it'll make it a little easier. But that the planet is in tight orbit around, your center line there. This is good. Tight orbit around, and I can move my feet, and this is more ritmos unlocking, right? If my feet are together, that's one ritmo. And then if I put my feet apart, that's another ritmo. But that's not really what's important. I want you to put your feet wherever you want them to go. But now what I want you to do is to play with this idea of an orbital movement inside of you. Imagine you're inside of you, hollowed out, empty vessel there, and that your awareness is moving around. Good. And then I can push way off center and then really close to center. And the tighter I get my orbit to the center line, the faster the hoop gets. And then if I want to start putting like a little bit of flair on it, then I push way out. And I give a little, I can put hitches in the hoop. So really close orbit around the center line or any line really, the hoop speeds up. And then if I want to play with it a little bit, start to move in its rhythms. And where that roll is happening, you know, it can be right under the hoop or it can be somewhere else in the body. Come up to the shoulders if you can. If you can't, don't worry about this. Stay on the waist. But this is kind of what that orbital motion looks like at the shoulders. And it's really good for putting the hoop in a steep angle. But this is what it looks like in a, okay? Good. Now back down to the waist. If I wanted to chi the hoop up, we worked on that last week. We're not going to work on it now, but if I did want to chi the hoop up, sometimes it helps to imagine that that orbit is going to take, you know, a spiraling way all the way up the body with a quick burst to get it up there. Boom, quick. Okay. Now, the other method is more of a percussive, like what you're hearing right now. And you imagine that your awareness is a very happy or something bouncy ball inside of you, and that ball is just bouncing wherever it wants to go. And it might roll, and then it might shoot across. If you don't know what a bounce rhythm feels like, then do like a rock step. Good. I'm just going to shut up and let you play with this too. Good. Now, if you can't shoulder hoop, this bounce method can really help open up your shoulder hooping. Because a lot of times we naturally are doing the orbit at the waist, and then we come up to the shoulders and we're naturally trying to do the orbit, and the orbit at the shoulders is very difficult. But the bounce method makes shoulders a lot easier. And so I can bounce from my AM to my PM. Like imagine my inside awareness is just boom, 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 right? And I'll show you what it looks like if I go from bouncing awareness to roll. To bounce. So if you're not sure how to even feel it wherever you are on the body, break the body into quadrants, you know, a 6 to 12 or a 12 to 6, and then close your eyes and see if your hooping is hitting that quadrant. Nice. Open, open. Good. Am I wearing you guys out tonight? This is a high energy class, I get it. Okay. I want you to stay with me. This is the last of our sprints. Yeah, it's hard. Try it with a bigger hoop. I don't know what size hoop you're using. She was saying she has a tough time shoulder hooping and standing still, and I totally understand that. A lot of times what happens, as I mentioned before, when I'm up here in your shoulder hooping, a lot of times you'll push that shoulder, not you specifically, but people will push the shoulder way forward, you know? So their head's back here, but the shoulder's up there. And sometimes what helps to stand still is to buy yourself a little extra time and really turn towards your 6 a.m. side, like turn towards the side that the hoop is coming onto your day from, right? Maybe even look back over it, but bring that arm back. It'll give you more opportunity to get some push on it. Because when you're here, the opportunity to push it is very limited, right? The timing. But if I'm here, I have got an opportunity that goes across the whole side of that body. Yeah, well, you know, hoop size is really particular, you know. I think it's like surfboard sizes, I've read. Okay, so I'm doing this bouncing. I want to come down to the waist. And this is going to be kind of, you know, athletic for us, but the bounce and the orbit both come in really play a big part in doing angle hoops successfully. Okay, so to get into an angle, I'm gonna start with earth angle. Okay, now you can turn to get into this if you want to, but I'm gonna try to do it standing still. So I bounce, right, and that's what starts the angle, right? And it has to be a drastic bounce, right? Like imagine like your knees buckling, like right, good, there you go. So I'm here, but no, this is what everybody says. Everybody always goes, okay, so I get it here, and the hoop wants to walk on me, okay? Now, there's a lot of ways you can fix that problem, but one good one is to bring the orbit back, okay? So I add the orbit, that round circular motion around my center line with my awareness to the bounce of my legs, and then I got the hoop locked in. One way you can think about it is your bounce is the gas pedal, and your orbit is the steering, okay? So if the hoop starts to die, you need to give it more gas. But if it starts to veer into one of the, you know, the curb rails or whatever they call those things, then steer, right? Like I can orbit the hoop back to here, kind of turn you and face into you guys a little bit more. Or I can turn the hoop, well, the orbit all the way back over to here. So I'm bouncing, that's the gas, that's the accelerator, it's the power on the hoop. That orbit motion, that awareness moving around the center line. Sweet, Lauren. Sweet. She got it. People on Twitch and YouTube don't know what the hell's going on. All right. Now, when I'm up here on the shoulders, well, you know, maybe I'm talking too much. I'll let you play with this for a second. Good, good. If you're doing the best you can and the angle is still walking on you, it's starting to turn, you can always turn towards it, right? Turn towards the low part if it's starting to walk on you. Love you too, Holly. Thank you. Saying hey. All right. When people see me do this right here, what I'm doing is I'm moving that into an orbit. Like if you could see me, it almost looked like a fan motor. Are you guys still alive? Have I killed you? Okay, well actually I'll grab some water if you need it, but for people that still want a little bit more on that part, when I'm at shoulders on the angles, right, if I'm here, it's gonna be more up and down or more push. And where the orbit comes in is it's not quite as like automatic It's more like you slowly make your way around the circle, right? Like in between sort of beats. And again, somebody was asking about shoulder hooping. All the same rules apply for shoulder hooping on an angle that they apply on the regular for the most part, right? I'm in mountain. I don't know if you can see this. I'm in mountain. This is so 2009. All right, boom. All right. All right, I don't want to kill you guys. Okay, if you have any progress ever in class, please share it with us. I can see everybody's comments. I'm not sure if everybody can see them on YouTube later. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But, all right, we're going to slow it up really big right now. And what I want you to do is just hold the hoop. Just do something that is super easy, just like holding the hoop, okay? And, you know, now that you're good and warmed up, hopefully, what I want you to do is try again, not that you did anything wrong the first time, but approach the hill again of your awareness and of opening all those windows back up in awareness or with awareness. When I first started hooping, Spiral and I had a certain sort of style, and people would tell us that we looked like warriors. This is at the local co-op here in my little town. And other hoopers on Tribe and MySpace and other places would say, you look like a warrior. And so something called warrior style just kind of started. And I guess I adopted it and just took it on. And I teach something called warrior style. But what I think a lot of people don't realize that I'd like to share is that I would really say my dance style if anybody would know what I was talking about. That I've never really liked the term warrior, but I like the resiliency of the archetype. And so warrior style or my dance style or whatever name you have for it is a creative vehicle that you get into. Self-driving car that just takes you there. Audible paths in. Awareness. All my windows, all my shades are pulled back. Windows are open. And when I'm in that space and my awareness is free, things feel more patient. And I can have better talks with whatever it is I need to talk to. If you're new to hooping, I just want to say over and over again that if you really want to have it make the biggest impact in your life, then do it for you. And enjoy the hoop the way you want to enjoy it. Enjoy it the size that you want, the colors that you want, to the music that you want. When I'm in my body, feeling awareness, moving in my ritmo, trusting it, then I don't have to force anything. Okay, guys. Oh. All right, we're going to move into our free hoop because it's a little bit, we're running a little bit late, but I don't know, whatever. So you can hoop any way that you want to this song. The rhythm's going to come kind of back up, but then it's going to drop quickly back down. So. Don't mind me, I am just controlling the music. Thank you, everybody. I don't know who's still here. Oops, I forgot to put the link up. Well, whatever. I love this track. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. This is a free hoop. I end every one of my classes with free hoops. Gives you a chance to let things come together. If you ever want to see a class, man, go back to my YouTube. Check out YouTube. Hey, Allie. You're welcome, guys. Thank you so much. This is just the free hoop, not just the free hoop, but there's not going to be any more instruction from here. All right? I love this. All right. That's the extra long. All right. You guys have heard me play this song before, but I'm just feeling it today. This song, I'm feeling. Again, thank you, everybody. This is just the free hoop. We'll do this song and maybe one more. So hard from there. I'll try. I'll be honest with you. This is what happens to me. People ask me, what did you just do? And I can never remember what I just did. I'm really sorry. I'm not trying to evade.
It feels like love. I'm reaching the sky is not enough. What else should I try? I'll never stop. It makes me so alive, can't get enough. I'm so confused now. Say to me, yeah. Say to me, it's what you do to me. It's how you make
It almost happened for the first time.
all the things that you say and all the things that you don't. It's what you do to me. It's
Much love to you, Lauren. Thanks for dropping in.
feel all the things that you say and all the things that you don't. Say to me, yeah. Say to me, yeah. To me. You make me feel. There is nothing to hide. There's no space and time with you. And who cares what they say? We are lovers anyway. Do to me. You don't say. It's how you make me feel. Do to me. You don't say. It's how you make. Say to me, yeah. Say to me. It's what you do to me. It's how you make me feel. All the things that you say and all the things that you don't. It's what you do to me. It's how you make me feel. All the things that you say and all the things that you don't. Say to me, yeah. Say to me, yeah.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We're going to do one song and then call it a night. Thank you, guys. guys. Good night. I'm going to close out. Trying to work on the longest continuous hand roll that I can get. So I'm going to close out with that practice. We'll see what happens. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for donating, sharing, liking, all of it. Love you guys. Please do, Lauren. Thank you guys. Have a beautiful night.